All of our teachers around here are writers and they're teachers. They're writers who can teach, I should say. I really want to have people, and that's what we have, is people who really get joy out of seeing other people succeed.
I mean, I've never heard that before, and you took her place and thought of how she might be feeling being this stone figure and having people just see her as stone and marble, and then to go to something that's so lifeless and still like that, to comparing her with the candles, which has life almost, you know. They move more and they bring more emotion out to people. That was very well done.
I love this poem. I love the repetition where you bring her name and it kind of weaves back into it. I like that specific name. It's very poetic. It's in and of itself. You know, Bernadette, it has this sort of like unusual sound to it. And I like especially how you drew your own personal experience into the poem toward the end. It came back to, you know, the actual author of the poem or the poet when you when you started with "I came here for grandparents I never knew." That brings this whole other element into it, which is really powerful. Good work. It's excellent.
I like when other people read my story and they give me comments about how they like it and how they don't like it, because that helps me to put in my story, and it really makes a big difference.
I like that at first it was kind of like you could sort of tell he was talking about an object that wasn't the person, but it was you kind of couldn't tell at first, and then you're like, oh, why didn't I notice that?
I also liked how she was really insecure about her size, and she was then really, really excited about how she got picked instead of all the others.
When she was making personifications.
How did you know she was using personification?
Because a personification is when a person takes, an object takes the place of a person.
I was a little confused at first with the whole food chain thing, and I like the personification of the tree, you know, the names, the cousins, so there is relationships between the trees. I like that. But yeah, that beginning part threw me off a little bit. I was a little confused.
You described each character, and then you described the changes between them, how she was a blonde and then now she's a brunette, and with the differences in physical traits, there's the difference in the relationship. They used to have one and now it's sort of empty, but it's still there. It's just buried underneath everything that they've done differently since they parted. And then at the end, you have them returning those feelings, but yet they have to go back to their lives. They have to live up to the choices they've made. I liked that subtle nuance there.
Like when you were saying how the raindrops turned into stone, it was just awesome. I could see it.
And a lot of frozen life, kind of like how everyone sees it through a painting. Almost, it was that abstract thought that you used to make everything just seem there and real. It was really cool.
It was good choices with the repetition. Popcorn is being made. Popcorn is being made. I really liked that.
I liked that she was a mother to 3 and he was a father to none. That was neat.
Yeah, that's it.
And I liked the ending where you're like, oh God, she's got 3 kids and she's gonna run and kiss him and they're gonna run off and they're gonna elope and it's not gonna be good. And then right after the kiss, you're like, and then they knew it was done. So it wasn't a kiss that was gonna make things keep going, or like that they're like celebrating what they have, as a lot of kisses are. It was a goodbye, which was unique. You don't see that a lot.
It was very deep. It was like deep enough to the point where it wasn't just like, oh, look at the flowers on the ground, look at this. Like the way you described it just made me feel like I was there, and it made me think actually, and that's good to have something that can make somebody think.
Friday morning is rehearsal time, which is really an important part of the process here, too, because they're learning how to read their stuff aloud in front of a group, and we're coaching them a little bit to do it. We've all had enough of writers who you go to a reading and they stand there and read with their faces down in their book and you can't hear a word. So we try to get them, as best we can anyway, rehearsed. Then at noon, friends and family come, and we have a public reading where they can show off their writing and be justifiably applauded and receive a diploma. Must work pretty good. The kids come back next year.
I'm the best friend of the class. I'm the voice that's very loud. I'm as prickly as a needle in the worm. I am in the heart of every woman in the world. I am within the reach of every girl who ever needs me. And I am who I am.
Crazy things. He was sick of being left out, so he made a bet, one that may cost him his life.
I realized that even though Winnie is weird, maybe she isn't so different. Emma, tilt your head there, now, Winnie whispered. Wait, why am I tilting my head? I whispered back. Silly, look out your window, she said, a big smile on her face. I looked out and saw clouds. That's all I see, just clouds. Not just clouds. See that one, the pretty white puffy one?
I really want by a rope, inches away from their faces. The mystical creature struggled against the bonds, stamping and snorting away at them. A man and woman
I woke up in a cornfield,
holding the ropes.
the taste of blood in my mouth. I tried to stand up, but a searing pain shot through my leg and pounded my chest like a sledgehammer. It felt as if I had just slammed into a brick wall. As I felt around, I found that my femur was protruding from my thigh, and that my left arm didn't move.
I would never be able to close my eyes for fear that that monster would attack again. I didn't get much sleep that night. In fact, I barely let myself blink. Instead, I peered over the edge of the bed every hour or so, standing guard to protect my mother and myself. My mind ran with fear, which motivated me to stay awake till sunrise. The next day, I slept all throughout kindergarten. There weren't any monsters there. When my mother came to pick me up, she put her palm against my forehead and decided that I was not, in fact, sick. She marched me through the slush and buckled me into our